Please welcome GW's Executive Director of Sustainability, Kathleen Merrigan.
Good morning. Well, thank you for making it bright and early on not the sunniest of days. We are so glad to have you here. I think we're going to have exciting conversations all day. But to kick us off, I want to introduce to you someone really special. It is the president of the George Washington University, Stephen Knapp, who has been an incredible voice for sustainability. When he arrived on the scene, close to 10 years ago, he said sustainability is really core to what my presidency is going to be all about. And he brought with him a lovely lady, Diane Knapp, his spouse, who's a registered dietitian and has had work, a whole history of work in the food space. So together they've been really great champions for the kind of work we do here on campus. So with no further ado, I welcome President Stephen Knapp.
Thanks very much, Kathleen. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for the introduction, Kathleen. And I want to join Kathleen in thanking our co-hosts. So those are the University of the District of Columbia, Michigan State University and Agree, and also our sponsor, Sweet Green, for bringing about this event today. This is going to have a lot of interesting comments from many experts in the field. I do want to mention some of the speakers coming later on. We're very pleased that Senator Debbie Stabenow and Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur will offer their insights via video messages later today. And we'll also be joined by a number of experts, including Ann Bartuska, the Deputy Undersecretary for Research, Education, and Economics at the USDA, Lillian Salerno, Deputy Undersecretary for Rural Development, also USDA, and Deb Eschmeyer, Executive Director of Let's Move and Senior Policy Advisor for Nutrition Policy at the White House. Well, as Kathleen has already mentioned, sustainability really is a core value at our university, and it is something that I thought when I arrived in 2007 was going to be an important focus of the university, not just because it was something that Diane and I were interested in, but also because it was a passionate concern of our students and faculty. And what we discovered when we arrived here was the widespread interest in sustainability. We sort of zeroed in on a number of issues that we thought were particularly appropriate for a large urban university located between the White House and the State Department. And among those were looking at stormwater runoff, which is a big issue for those of us here in Washington, D.C., because we're part of the watershed for the Chesapeake, and we do have this problem whenever there's a heavy rain, a lot of material flows into the Potomac and ultimately into the bay and into the ocean. And we looked at issues of our energy use, and a couple years ago we put half of all of our electricity for the university on solar energy. But in particular, we sort of gravitated toward issues of food access, food justice, healthy food choices for our students and for the community, this issue of food deserts in urban communities. And we discovered fairly early on that there were students quite actively involved in something called the Food Justice Alliance. Our students were already interested in urban gardening. But I think one of the key events that took place was our meeting a local chef who many of you from the D.C. area will be very familiar with, but he's not just a chef, a very skillful chef and renowned chef, but also a very active philanthropist and an advocate for issues of food justice, food access, and healthy eating. And that's Chef Jose Andres, who's now an honorary doctoral alumnus of the university and serves as a sort of senior fellow for food issues here, and has taught a very popular course on campus called The World on a Plate. And he came to a kind of a salon dinner discussion at the residence that where Diane and I live, and we had a very interesting discussion of food policy questions that led to the creation of the Urban Food Task Force that Diane chairs, and her assistant Donita Altieri is also here this morning. And together they have worked with a broad group of faculty, students, and staff on really fostering our engagement in issues like urban agriculture. In sustainability in general, we have 11 institutes, 200 faculty members engaged in research. We have a minor in sustainability now that's open to all undergraduates. We have 470 courses with relevant content. We have 11 LEED certified buildings, and that includes every new building we've constructed in the last decade. But under the Urban Food Task Force, we have now created, as a result of the work of that task force, we created a newly chartered food institute, and our student Grow Garden on campus here donates all its produce to Miriam's Kitchen, which, of course, is an organization that helps those who are food insecure. So this is, the issues you're going to be talking about today are really at the core of what we care about at this institution, what you all care about, and what's really crucially important for the future of urban communities, which will house, by the year 2050, 2/3 of all of humankind will be living in cities, and they're going to be dependent on not just agriculture in the conventional sense, but innovative approaches to urban agriculture as well. And so we thank you for joining us, and I hope you'll continue to think of George Washington as your partner in moving forward on issues like urban agriculture. Thanks very much. Enjoy the day.